So theoretically, yep, we're live on the YouTubes. Maybe. There it is. Yep. Okay. I don't know. I guess how people really do this, they've got like 3 or 4 computers going with people doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm recording on Audacity now as well.
Oh, okay.
Whenever
Should we
you're
start
ready.
recording?
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm recording now too then.
All right, let's do the count. 3, 2,
3,
1.
2, 1. There we go.
Isn't it funny how off sync we are? And then record here, because why not?
Recording in progress.
Yeah, I know it's in progress. I hit the button. You don't have to tell me. Not required. Siri, computer girl.
Thank you, sci-fi computer, TV show computer.
Recording in progress. Downloading directly to the Chinese Communist Party.
Like, that had to be the most annoying thing on the USS Enterprise D, or 1701D. Was the computer just repeating the commands back. Heading Mark, or 120 Mark II. Heading 120 Mark II. Yes, thank you.
I just said that. Literally.
Like the reverse of the Sigourney Weaver from Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
I have one job on this ship.
One job. And I'm going to do it. So, well, we took a week off of sports ball podcasting in part because our favorite team took a week off. Not that it did them any good. And then we came back last week to a horrible game of horribleness, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But where do we want to start? Do we want to college ball?
Honestly, I'm just going to be here talking about how upset I am about our teams. That's what I'm going to be doing here, because I don't have it in me to watch it.
Yeah, just so everybody knows.
Bad sports.
What I'm eating right now
I just can't.
is Cinnamon Toast Crunch and coffee. Don't do it. The heat, like the best part about Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I don't care if I'm going to riff on Cinnamon Toast Crunch for the next 25 minutes. We're doing this. The best part about Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the crunch part, in my opinion. I mean, the flavor's good too, don't get me wrong. Nothing better than milk. Post Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk. Great milk.
Well, cinnamon and sugar. I mean, like, honestly.
Yeah. It's tough to beat that combination. But the crunch, right? So you have a time limit. You got to eat that stuff as fast as you possibly can, or you're going to get
cinnamon. That's all cereal.
Well, yeah, but like, it's just, it hits at another level, Bruce. I can't describe it any other way. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so much better when crunchy, so much worse when soggy. So you got a time limit, right? Well, shocking no one who's an engineer or scientist, if the liquid around the Cinnamon Toast Crunch happens to be hot instead of cold,
then it expedites it.
Then yes, that process of mushening rapidizes.
Softening.
I like mushening better. It turns to mush. And it's just...
Mind you, folks, he's the one that went to college and has a degree from a university.
This is a degree-granting institution. See, look at that stuff right there. That's awful right away.
One with a Division I football team.
Yeah, you'd believe that. But not if you looked at our scores.
Not if you watch this season.
No. So like I said,
if we want to get into that, we can. But I'll just go ahead and just say, I mean, that he's got to be. No wonder he got the contract he did, because the man must be able to convince anybody of anything. You know, that old line of ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Yeah. Well, apparently his agent is the same as Nick Saban's agent. So I'll let that sink in.
That's, you know what that is? That is that agent going all in on a high return stock and then going, I'll throw bucks in this low one, because really I'm just going to make way more on this one, and if this one happens to hit,
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
That's what the season is telling me.
No, I think that's correct. And for those people who might be watching on YouTube, what you're seeing me do now is search frantically for some instructions for my new headphones so I can wear those instead of the ones I'm wearing. So I apologize.
Well, see, with headphones, what you do is you place the ear things over your ears.
Yeah, so
that way the soft part is on the inside.
Shut up. The Bluetooth isn't working. You jag. You big old dumb jag. I hate you.
You been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No, I really should though.
Because they use that sometimes and it's just hilarious.
Yeah. I keep forgetting about that show. Like so many of the TV shows out right now are what do you call it? Like heavy, dark,
yes.
Lots of bad stuff going on. And
girlfriend's upstairs watching a show about sexual assault. And then she was really into the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. And then she likes her true crime stuff that mostly deal in murders.
Well, that's all women. All women want to know how to kill us and hide our bodies. That's just being a woman in the modern era.
Or they're like Cheryl Tunt from Archer.
Yeah, that's accurate. Probably. Okay, power on, power off, play, volume, next track. Answer, reject a phone call, and a phone. But what? Pairing. There we go.
This is the real show. This is the real show, folks. Watching an engineer reading instructions.
Yeah, shut your filthy whore mouth. Okay. The LED will start flashing blue, indicating the Z2 is in pairing mode. So I'm going to take my headphones off, which means you're going to be able to say whatever you want about me. I'll have to watch this later.
The day is mine. Oh, folks, too much fun on a Saturday. At least we're having fun on a Saturday for once. I mean, good God. It's such a terrible football season, at least for me. And I think in general, in both college and professional sports, it's just been a weird year. Tennessee beating Alabama. Other teams doing well, I'm sure that you would be like, why?
Your device is ready to go.
But you can't see below, how do you know?
What do you mean, how do I know? New headphones, they work. I got it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm... Never mind.
I don't care. Anyways. All right, so... bye week. I'm trying to remember if there were any games that I watched college football wise during the bye week.
Bye weeks exist too, Pat. All right, they're part of this world.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So was the Tennessee Alabama game? Was that bye week? I want to say it was.
Well, no, it wasn't, because we had the same bye week as Alabama. There were a bunch of us that had the same bye week.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Georgia too.
Mm-hmm. Georgia had that bye week as well.
So who did we play?
Florida, Auburn. We're gonna play Ole Miss tonight. No, wait.
Played Ole Miss.
LSU played Ole Miss and beat them.
Right. Right.
Pretty handily. Right. So LSU is winning the West. I'm gonna let that sink in.
Right.
LSU is winning the West. A team with a new coach coming out of Notre Dame, a team that we have spared no expense in making fun of over the years for being massively overrated. But yeah, Brian Kelly spared no expense. Brian Kelly has really shaped up LSU since that first game, because the first game was awful. They lost bad to a bad team, very similar to our second game. And since then, they seem to have rebounded. So they're doing really well. So I'm just going to get to it. Texas A&M played South Carolina last weekend, and it was awful. It was a close game the entire game. It was in South Carolina. We've never lost to them. We were 8-0 against them. We play them pretty much every year. Every year we've been in the SEC, we've played South Carolina. They're an Eastern Conference team, so we're not like required to play them, but they are one of the easier Eastern Conference teams, which is saying something because the Eastern Conference is mostly easy teams. I mean, it's like you got Vanderbilt and Kentucky and South Carolina and Tennessee, although Tennessee's good this year. Florida's off and on, and then Georgia. And Georgia's, kind of a powerhouse. So it's usually Florida and Georgia, or Georgia and somebody else. And this year it looks like it's Georgia and Tennessee. So we played it at South Carolina. We had a really terrible opener. The first quarter was pretty much all South Carolina. They literally, on the kickoff, ran the ball back for a touchdown. So we were seven points in the hole 2 minutes into the game. Or not even 2 minutes. 3 seconds into the game. As long as it took that guy to run from one side of the field to the other. So they managed to score another touchdown in the first quarter, and we looked pretty bad. The second quarter is really where we came alive, and we started coming back. We got all the way back to, by the half, it was 17-14, and we got the ball in the second half. We were doing well. We drove it down. I think we were like 24, 23, 24 kind of a range. We weren't looking great, but we weren't looking bad, and the momentum was definitely on our side. It was very clear that we were driving. We were going to make, and into the fourth quarter, we were going to close this out. We were going to end up winning this game. And then, of course, on a drive, I think around the 5-minute mark, Haynes King injures himself. And I say it that way because
Shocker.
He threw the ball, and then after the throw, hit the ground. And what happened was, it's a baseball injury. He overextended his arm because he was running with his chest to the sideline. So he was running towards the sideline and throwing downfield, trying to make a first down. And so his whole body overextended as he's trying to do that, and his shoulder, something bad happened. I'm not a doctor. So he came out of the game after that. So we were.
You know what didn't hurt his arm? Smoking. Yeah.
So
yeah,
Wegman.
I'm just gonna keep interjecting because I didn't watch this because I mean just because I've seen the train wreck coming.
Yeah.
They've just been all the way through, the season. It's just been unimpressive after unimpressive after unimpressive.
Yeah.
Arkansas game was a wild game, but really we probably should have lost that game.
Yeah, we should have. It was a fluke that they hit the top of that.
Not just hit the upright.
Hit the upright.
Yeah,
top. Like it was a fluke.
Of a straw.
Yeah, that was a fluke. If they had not done that, they would have won. It was not. It was a chip shot. Because I would think it was from the 30, 35. So they should have won that game. Theoretically, because it wasn't at the very, very end. When they missed that, we still had a 2 minutes, so there was still a possibility of a 2-minute drill coming back and win. But either way, that's conjecture about a game, 8 weeks ago now. So
I'm just I've just been completely out of it, and
yeah.
I mean, I want to say that my fandom's strong, but I've been hit too much this past year.
I've been an A&M fan forever. I suffered through the year where we lost. I think it was 4 games by 5 points, like total. Like we were losing to teams by 1 point, literally, and we did that 3 times. And then one game we lost by 2 points, and they were close games. They were all the way. And so if we'd won those games, we would have won the Big 12. But we didn't. We lost all those by 1 point, and so we were 8-4, as like we always are, right? So it's just part of being an A&M fan. It sucks. So,
but for me, it's not just because it's being an A&M fan. It's being an A&M fan, a Browns fan, a Guardians fan.
Yeah.
I mean, just every team I watch, I'm like, God, can at least one of them be good? Just one of them.
Just one of them. Yeah. So Wegman goes in. So Wegman's our red shirt. No, he's not a red shirt freshman. He's a true freshman. He's one of the top quarterback prospects in the nation.
Oh,
I believe he was a 5-star recruit. He looked good. No,
Yeah.
flat out, he looked good. He wasn't clicking on all cylinders, shockingly, because he wasn't playing with the starting team. But he didn't throw an interception. He made several completions. They weren't rocking on all cylinders, and we lost the momentum when King went out, and so we lost that drive, and we couldn't get another drive back. We did have a chance. We did get another drive back. We drove down far enough to get up. We went with because at that point we had to get 2 scores, and it could be any combination. So we went with the field goal first, onside kick, try to get a touchdown. And it worked. Like, we got the onside kick back. We had about a minute and a half left, and Wegman was able to drive us down to about the 50. He made a couple really big plays. A-Chain made a couple big plays. But
let's stop on that for a quick second.
Okay.
And talk about that across football, both college and professional, the onside kick is working this year. That right there tells you the breakdown in football. Because the onside kick is the Hail Mary of special teams maneuvers that shouldn't work 90% of the time, and it has worked well beyond 90% of the time this year.
Yeah.
Or beyond the 10% that it should work, I should say.
Yeah. But
it just
yeah, it didn't end up playing out for us. We had a couple shots. One was just short of the end zone. Well, just short. It's about 15, 20 yards. It ended up being an incomplete pass. And then the second shot was going to be a full-blown Hail Mary into the end zone. But one of the defenders jumped up, knocked the ball down. So that was it. That was game. We never lost to South Carolina before. It sucked.
wow. Because I always, our games are usually tough against them. And you wouldn't think that they should be. And that's the part that always makes me nervous when we play South Carolina. I'm like, they shouldn't be as tough as they are because it's South Carolina. Like, no one usually talks about them until the A&M game comes around because they look better than they should against A&M.
Well, South Carolina has a tendency to come out strong and then fade. That was the classic Sumlin game where they were up by like 20 some odd points, and then we came back and beat them in the fourth quarter. It's been typical of our games with South Carolina that they come on strong. It's very similar to how A&M was under Kevin Sumlin, which was we score first and a lot, and then don't do anything in the third and fourth quarter. That's stereotypical South Carolina. That was very similar to what played out. They did a little more, in part because our defense, they're still young, and they're still trying to find themselves, I think, in a lot of ways. I will say our defensive coordinator did manage to put 4 men on the line more often than not, which was a breath of fresh air from the 3-man coverage we were trying to do. The problem with the 3-man, so conceptually, you have 3 men rushing the passer on your defensive side. That theoretically gives you more folks in the backfield to stop him from throwing, to cover men, to make tackles, to knock balls down, whatever you want. The problem is that doesn't work well against a run game, which it's the SEC. Everybody has a run game.
Right.
And B, our guys aren't good enough to stop the pass. They're just not there yet. And so what you end up giving the other team's offense is the ability to do a run game and the ability to do a pass game without a whole lot of interference from our defense.
Well, yeah, and so when you break it down, we don't have a defense because we can't stop the run, we can't stop the pass, and that's all that there is in football.
Yep. So yeah, our
and I've said this the last 2 times we've talked about sports. It doesn't matter if you're a new coach. This is the SEC. You gotta be able to hit the ground running, and you have to be good enough to play in the SEC.
Yeah. And
I
so
don't know how we ended up with the guy that we ended up with, but
I don't know either.
somebody messed up.
Well, we had a guy at LSU who's the defensive coordinator there, and I assume he left because I thought he was doing fine, and so we end up with a new guy. I gotta look into it. I probably won't because I don't care that much, but I might. But the real
At this
elephant.
point, you can't really care that much because the season's over, more or less.
So yeah, the real elephant in the room though is the offensive line. It's possibly the worst offensive line in the entirety of the SEC, and I am including Vanderbilt and Missouri, who Missouri only managed to beat Vanderbilt 17-14 this weekend, this last weekend. People were considering it a bye week for both teams, just because. So, they're just so bad. Like, I would say there was at least one false start every drive, maybe two. There were eight or nine false starts for the entire game. There were so many bad. Oh, one of the touchdowns South Carolina scored in the first 5 minutes of the game. So after running the ball all the way across the field and scoring, they then kick off to us. We have the ball in the 20. The center hikes it early for some reason. It bounces off of Haynes King's knee into one of the defensive lineman's hands, and he runs the ball in for a touchdown.
Sorry, I was just looking at the SEC standings and trying to ponder how it is that we are ranked just above Arkansas, even though they have more overall wins. But the fact is that our one conference win was against Arkansas. So therefore, we are ranked above Arkansas.
Because Arkansas hasn't won any conference games.
No, they've won one, it says here.
They won one conference game?
Yep.
Okay, so that's because we beat them. That's why we're ranked higher than them. Yeah.
Right. So let that sink in. The only reason we're not in dead last is because we beat the team that's in dead last. Other than that, we should be below Arkansas because they have one win more than we do.
Yeah. But yeah, the offensive line literally gave up a touchdown in the first quarter by hiking the ball bad, bouncing it off Haynes King's knee into the defensive lineman's hands, and he ran it in for a touchdown. That was not the only bad hike. The guy can't. I don't know what he's doing, but he's high, he's low, he's all over the place. He's hiking it to A-chain sometimes. Like it boggles my mind. I'm like, what are you? You have literally two jobs. The first is to hike the ball correctly, and the second is to stop the guy in front of you. It's not like the other guys who are taking people coming from weird directions. You're literally in the middle. Like, you really have one job: hike the ball and stand there. And I just those two things, the constant false starts, linemen popping up, and part of the problem was noise, right? South Carolina, very noisy crowd. Same thing with Mississippi State, very noisy crowd. But the God's honest truth, you should be training under those conditions.
Right.
Because this is the SEC. The crowds are fucking crazy.
They're all crazy.
They're all crazy. You should always...
Why? Because everybody wants to beat up on everybody. And then everybody wants to murder Alabama.
Yeah.
That's how it works in the SEC.
So
kill everybody, but murder Alabama.
Yeah. So the expectation should always, always, always be, I'm not going to be able to hear my quarterback. And so you should set up your hiking schemes for that. And
right.
your go schemes, because that was the linemen. You had linemen popping up, like the right tackle would just pop up suddenly. And you look around like, I thought we hiked the ball. And you're just like, this is some Bush League bull right here. Like,
yeah, it's timing. Yeah, like you should have the cadence down. You should have the timing down.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you should be practicing. Like that's the biggest part of practice that you should have is the timing. Because like you said, you're going to have a crowd. You know that you can practice a route all you want, an organized play all you want, but you know that in a game that's basically almost useless.
Yeah.
I mean, on the off chance that the defense does exactly what you think they're going to do, you're more or less training for, one, the timing, because you know you won't be able to hear the quarterback, and two, how to deal with the unexpected.
Yeah. So we've got a massive overall coaching problem. Our O-line coach is awful. Our defensive coach seems to be learning, but still not great. And we don't have an offensive coordinator. So the only person I can blame is Jimbo Fisher. Come on,
he's
Jimbo.
in charge of all of them.
Because he's in charge of all of them. So we have a coaching problem.
And he's the great recruiter. You know?
Well, and
he's the great recruiter. We've got the #1 recruiting class, blah, 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 blah. How about using those skills to get us some coaches?
Right, exactly. Go get an offensive
coordinator. I would think that
get
he's
a good
more
defensive
likable
coordinator.
than Nick Saban.
I got no idea. I'm going to guess yes, but so
that he's more likable than the guy who complains about other people trying to win, even though he's won more titles than anybody else in the SEC right now.
Yeah. So it's a lot of and the crazy part is so much looked better in that game. Our receiving core looked so across the board. Muhammad looked better. Stewart looked better. Brown looked better. Wegman looked good. Our third string quarterback was throwing strikes. I mean, he was throwing both the short ball and the medium ball. Didn't get to see him throw the long ball because the defense was all over him because offensive line. Our defense was doing better. They really were. It just, I don't know. I really do feel like we could have won that game if Haynes King had stayed in. I think we would have kept the momentum and done it. I think with Wegman coming in, there were just too many questions. But we'll see. I don't know what tonight's going to look like. We're playing Ole Miss, I believe, at home. So we've always got a chance. I'm going to watch it because A&M's always the perpetual underdog, almost no matter what. And so when we win, it feels amazing. And when we lose, it's like, it happens. So just try not to have any hope. That's the key. The key is not to try.
Well, I just want to not watch that way. When my girlfriend's father asked me what happened to A&M, I go, I don't know. I didn't even watch because he follows Ohio State, and every week for them, it's not really I don't know of one single game that they play where it's been an actual game, because it's clearly that anybody they play isn't worth anything.
No, Iowa was a game for about a quarter and a half, I would say, and then they fell apart hard, and Ohio State just ran away with it. So that was last week. I'm gonna say Texas lost to OSU, so it was a good football weekend last week, even though we didn't have we didn't play. Alabama destroyed Mississippi State because they were coming off their loss from Tennessee, which is funny because last year Alabama played Mississippi State after losing to us. And so Mississippi State gets the beatdown. And yes, Mississippi State did manage to score a single touchdown in the last 5 minutes of the game. So it was like 30-something to 6. Like I said, Mizzou and Vanderbilt played. That was a close game. Looking ahead to the rest of the season, so we've got Ole Miss, we've got Florida, we've got Missouri, we've got University of Massachusetts, and then we've got LSU. So we're 3-4, 3-5.
Yeah.
3-4. You have to win 6 games to be bowl eligible. The way I see this playing out is 2 ways. Either we go down like bitches, like Texas did last year, and we end up with 5 wins, because Texas lost to, I think it was West Virginia, and they ended up not being bowl eligible. Or we go down like LSU last year, and we beat LSU at the last moments in the game in College Station, and that makes us bowl eligible. Because that's exactly what happened to LSU. If LSU hadn't beat us last year, they wouldn't have been bowl eligible. But they did beat us. They got in their sixth game. So that's from a just how life tends to work perspective. I think that's probably more likely, just because it's crazier. And the way I see it playing out, we'll beat Ole Miss and we'll beat LSU, and we'll get beat by Missouri, Auburn. Oh, sorry, we're playing Auburn, Florida, and University of Massachusetts. We'll get beat by those 4 teams, but
Well, we don't play Missouri.
We don't play Missouri?
No, it's Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, UMass, and LSU.
LSU, yeah. So yeah, we'll somehow beat Mississippi or Ole Miss and LSU and UMass and lose to Florida and Auburn, who are looking awful this year. Auburn especially. Auburn, but that's the fun thing about
If
Auburn.
there's one game I want us to win for the rest of the season, it's Florida. Why? Because my sister went to Florida, so that's a fun rivalry game. But
Yeah, it is. If there's one win I want to get, it's LSU because I hate LSU because I lived in Baton Rouge.
even though you are well acquainted with somebody who went to LSU,
She doesn't like LSU.
really,
I mean,
the
she likes
school that gave her a doctorate.
the vet school. Sure.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong. It's a good school. Their fans are just. Let me put it this way: much like Alabama, most of the LSU fans never went to LSU.
Really?
Oh yeah. LSU is very much the state's football team. So it's Louisiana's football team. Like way more so than like the Saints. The Saints are kind of like this New Orleans thing. But the entirety of the boot that is Louisiana roots for LSU. And they're also very good at recruiting within LSU. So most of their players are from Louisiana. A lot of their players are from Louisiana. So it is a big time thing to be an LSU fan, even if you never went to LSU. None of your relatives went to LSU. You've never even been to Baton Rouge. Doesn't matter. So where Baton Rouge is near Cajun country. So a lot of the people who show up to the games start drinking at 4 a.m. They took their 2-hour break, stopped drinking at 2, and then they start drinking it at 4. So they're not necessarily the nicest, calmest of people sometimes. Like, for instance, I would never go to an LSU A&M game in Baton Rouge unless I had, like, a box that I could just sit in for the entire hour after the game and then sneak out. No matter if we won or lost. Doesn't matter. The chance of me getting beaten up because I'm wearing Texas A&M stuff doesn't matter if we win or lost. It's there. You gotta have some sort of disguise to get out alive. So that's yeah. So that's the game I want to win. But who knows? I honestly don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be with King, if we're gonna be with Wegman. Wegman looked good. King was looking better. I mean, as a team, they are looking better. But if they can't get over the O-line issues, it's a done deal. We're done. Because it's something Jimbo says constantly is, in the SEC, you have to win the line. If you can't win the line, you can't win. And that's something we did so well 2 years ago when we were, ranked 5 and they kept us out of going to the college football playoffs. You ESPN sons of that we won the line. We were able to win the line in the games we played. So that's I guess I'm done ranting. I'm good. We can move on to the NFL.
It's not like it's not like it's any better for me in the NFL than it is in college, and it's just, I just can't take it. I can't.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who the Cowboys played. So we played the Eagles. So
I was gonna say.
Yeah, Cowboys played the Eagles. We were still on Cooper Rush. Decided Dak Prescott wasn't fully back yet. We lost, but it was a close game. It was a close game the entire game. It was a very... No, I'm thinking of the weekend after the Lions game. But it was a close game the whole game. It was a very low-scoring game. It was defense. We're just, the Cowboys offense with Cooper Rush is just not as good as the Eagles offense with Jalen Hurts. That's effectively what it came down to. The defenses were pretty much matched, I would say. And so Cowboys lost that game. It wasn't heartbreaking. I mean, I hate losing to the Eagles, don't get me wrong. I really hate losing to Washington, though, so we beat them, so I'm more okay with that. So, not as big of a deal that we lost to them. Last weekend was the Lions. So Dallas, playing in Dallas. And it was Prescott's first week back. So coming back, he was rusty. Flat out. His first series went 3-and-out. His second series, I think he got a first down before going out. Like, it was very slow start. No, there wasn't a whole lot of rhythm. The Lions, who have the worst rush defense in the league, were constantly stopping both Pollard and Zeke. There were multiple occasions where we were rushing for, it was 3rd down and 1 or 3rd and 2, and we rushed the ball, and they were able to stop Zeke.
Wow.
And it didn't seem to matter. Up the middle, off to the side, trying to run around. Doesn't matter what we did, they could stop it. And that was the whole game. That went into the third quarter. I don't know how or why or what the Lions did to hype up their defense, but they were able to stop the rush. Not so much the pass. CeeDee Lamb, Brown. Not so much Gallup. Gallup didn't get as many targets. But our tight end did quite a bit. He really is Dak Prescott's kind of safety blanket. I mean, and that's honestly a healthy relationship, because that was the same thing between Tom Brady and Gronk. If Tom Brady had to dump the ball to somebody, it was going to Gronk. know. And that's the thing about tight ends. If they manage to catch the ball, which a lot of times they do, they're tough to bring down because they're linemen, effectively, who are also running.
And catching.
Uh-huh. So the Lions game, it was rough. It was like 6-3 going into the half. Lions 6, Dallas 3. Third quarter was still a lot of stops and starts, and then the fourth quarter Dallas exploded. Like even just the last 10 minutes of the game, 8 minutes of the game, Dallas exploded. We scored like 2 touchdowns, quick succession. One of the, I guess, kickoffs or punt returns we got from the Lions, we ran it back to like 60 yards. Like, we almost got it. Like, he had broken one more tackle, he would have been in the end zone. Parsons was effective. That's always the problem. They tend to double or triple team him. But that allows other folks to get in and get sacks. But we were able to get to the quarterback more. So you look at the score and it looks like the Cowboys just beat up the Lions, but we really didn't. It was a real close. Lions were winning most of that game, and then in the fourth quarter we just slapped them around. It was very much okay. Dak is warmed up and back and everything. So you're fading, man. What's going on?
I don't know, man. Fuck.
You got some rosy cheeks.
I that's gotta be the camera.
Yeah.
That's gotta be the camera. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Are your hands real clammy right now? You're not having a heart attack on me, are you?
I don't know. How much does our friendship mean to you?
Quite a lot. Don't die.
I bet it would. No. I don't know. I guess I just didn't sleep that well last night. I don't know what the hell happened. Freaking animals kept waking us up.
Yeah. I watched episode 8 of Andor last night.
Oh, that was a good one.
God, it was rough. Whew. Yeah, it was. It was very much this is how horrible the Empire really is.
Yeah, and what's his name being in the episode? Gollum. The guy who plays Gollum.
Really?
He does a bunch of them. Yeah. He was in the Marvel movies. The crazy guy with the arm.
You're gonna have to be way more the crazy guy with the arm. Come on, Bruce.
He does every CG, thing. He's the physical embodiment of everything CG.
Crazy
these days. The voices and
okay.
And Black Panther, or not Black Panther, but I think it was one of the Avenger movies where he was basically trying to get his hands on all the vibranium he can.
Oh yeah, that guy. So he was from Avengers 2. He was the sub bad guy below Ultron. He was getting Ultron the uranium. Talked about
I can't remember
but yeah, he played a good yeah. He does play a lot of good characters. So he was good. He was good in that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that was a really good episode. I know we're getting off track here for a minute, but
yeah.
And then Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, did you watch any of this?
You
don't need to. You didn't watch the Clone Wars. None of it's really gonna make that much sense to you.
So I have to. Maybe I need a refresher on this because I'm gonna sometime in December. I'm gonna podcast about the Dooku side of the ball. The Count Dooku piece. So if I've got to watch a bunch of stuff on Clone Wars, please let me know now.
Terribly.
So I can start watching it.
Sorry, folks. We'll get back to sports in a second.
Yeah, whatever.
Dooku's story's not very original.
Okay.
You know, he's one of them Jedi is like, oh, the system's corrupt and I gotta do whatever it takes to blah, 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 blah.
Gotcha.
And it's all you really get out of Tales of the Jedi. It doesn't go into very much detail because it's 8 episodes of 15 minutes each. 8 shorts, basically. Yeah. And, I mean, the only thing you get is a glimpse into Qui-Gon being a Padawan and then growing up into. And then all you're really getting out of all of this is that, 1, the Jedi weren't as mystic as, you were led to believe in the movies, in most of the movies. And 2, the Jedi were more like policemen. So essentially this new era of Star Wars is turning the Jedi into policemen.
Interesting. Okay.
That it's less about the Force and more about the Republic. And it's taken on a very strange turn in Star Wars. I mean, I like the war aspect, but I like people being who they're supposed to be to their max.
Yeah.
The Jedi being the most Jedi, being most in tune with the universe and, the mysticism behind them. And then everybody else being whoever they were to the max.
Yeah. Well, that was always and because the movies focus so much on Yoda as being kind of one of the premier paramount Jedi, and he was very mystic, all of the stuff he did. I mean, even the way they made him talk made him sound more mystical.
Well, even in the original, I mean, Obi-Wan was very mystic.
Mm-hmm.
And to a certain degree, so was Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of his talk about the living Force and, being the chosen one, it was more about the universe trying to talk, through him and through everyone else than it was, about being a policeman.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if we look at episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the best part of that is what's his name, being a policeman, being a detective.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is that piece of it. But yeah, you're right. Like, never really considered the Jedi as a police force. I do kind of get, why they might do that to the Jedi in the run-up to Order 66 and the Empire. But for the breadth and scope of the Republic, I never got the idea that the Jedi were like a police force, that they were more like... I don't know what they were.
But that should have been okay in an unknown galaxy far, far away,
Right.
Them not having a definitive role as mystics, that would have been a good thing.
Yeah.
In any case, like I said, it really didn't. I don't think it added much to the Star Wars story. I think it was a placeholder that it's more of Dave Filoni trying to, I had these great ideas and I just want to do these little shorts so I can, show off my creativity.
Yeah. That's something we've been talking a lot about Andor because what Andor's doing is it's making things very real. The movies are very much, space wizards and and spaceships and galaxy far, far away stuff. And Andor is very much a people show about relationships, and those are very similar to how everyday life is.
Which I think is great in an episodic form.
Right.
I'm fine with Rogue One being, the one shot, the anthology that it is, and Andor doing what it's doing. But Disney's going to have to come out with some Star Wars movies here soon.
Because it is XYZ set in Star Wars. So, Rogue One was a war movie set in Star Wars. Solo was a heist movie set in Star Wars. Andor is a counterintelligence movie or show
it's the
set
start
in
of the start of guerrilla warfare, the start of a rebellion in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, in the Star Wars universe, but it's not Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
And their last attempt at Star Wars Not great.
Yeah. Like I said, I've liked the content I've seen. I can't wait for Mandalorian season 3, but I don't want the Star Wars franchise getting lost in all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel that that's the way it's going. I feel that a lot of the fandom is going in that direction, because then it's going to end up being a lot like Marvel fandom, in that, you've got all these different divisions everywhere,
Yeah.
and that, so Marvel isn't one thing, it's 10,000 things,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's where Star Wars should go. I mean, I'm fine with the movies the way they are. There were some editorial choices that I may or may not like, but it was Star Wars at the very least.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't one part of 10,000 things.
Yeah. So, we could chop this audio up and make 2 episodes out of it. One about sports ball and one for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just have to remember to do 2 intros at the end of this, because we forgot to do the intro again.
Because we didn't know what we were doing, really.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. So.
So Andor this week was good. Tales of the Jedi, meh. Like, there are memes out there, people like, because Ahsoka was at Padme's funeral, and they're like, oh, it was so sad and whatnot. I'm like, but there wasn't enough time to feel sad about it. There wasn't enough explanation. Like, Ahsoka didn't talk to anybody about how close she was to Padme, so I don't know where you got the feelings, the emotions for it from.
Right.
She had a 2-minute conversation with Bail Organa, and that was it. Her standing amongst the crowd and a 2-minute conversation with Bail Organa. That was it. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. Sorry.
Jimmy
So I
Smith's
don't know
Organa.
where people got the emotions from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
sorry. Okay. So did you have more to add to the Cowboys?
not really. I don't even know who we're playing this week. I can look that up, but you could go ahead with whoever you want to talk about. You're gonna talk about the Astros. They're in the World Series. They beat the Yankees.
About the Browns for a little bit.
Go ahead.
We're on a 4-game losing streak, and it's gonna be 5 this week because the Browns just suck again. It's just, and no, we can't blame Baker Mayfield this time. So this is just coming down to the coaches just suck.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. I can't watch this disaster anymore because it's just terrible. It's just awful. And they give you little glimmers of hope, and they can't finish a fucking game to save their lives. The defense doesn't know, its ass from a manhole. I don't know what else to say about it. Like last week, we played the Ravens. We could have beaten the Ravens, but did we? No, of course not, because that's just not what we do. We can't handle winning. We just can't do it. And another lawsuit was brought up against Deshaun Watson for sexual assault, basically, and it's turning out that one's looking more of like a Ponzi scheme, like blackmail kind of thing. But still, it just adds to all of this that there's yet another thing. There's another thing, and this person's hurting. That person's hurting. This person's playing like shit. It's Cleveland all over again. It's just Cleveland. You thought you had a chance. You thought you were getting better. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And the fact that Myles Garrett at the beginning of the season said people shouldn't be booing us. Yes, they should, Myles. Yes, they should. They should be booing the shit out of all of you because we put a lot of faith and a lot of money and a lot of attention to you guys, and you guys are way better than your record shows, and you're just fucking up.
Tell me how you really feel,
right,
Bruce?
I thought that when the guy came out that video with Factory Sadness and we started coming out of it, I thought that was the moment that things were going to change, and that the Browns as an organization never want to be the team of sadness ever again. They'll be a factory of sadness, and it just seems like they don't care.
No.
They say they can try. They're trying as hard as they want. They played some bad fucking teams this year. Everybody sucks in the NFL. Everybody. The only people that don't suck this year were the people that sucked last year.
Yep.
Except for the Browns. I mean, you had the Jets were doing okay. You got the Eagles are for fuck's sake are doing okay.
The Giants.
Aaron Rodgers
is falling apart.
Russell Wilson, doesn't know who the fuck he is, and Tom Brady's so distracted that he should and realizing he should have retired 10 years ago.
Yeah, he was playing.
I'm not mad.
They were playing. Who were they playing? I think they were playing the Ravens. Thursday Night Football, and they were showing Tom Brady won his first championship when the other when the Ravens quarterback was born. And they just show
it was Thursday. Yeah, the Ravens beat them 27-22.
Yeah, and they just kept showing that. They kept showing the comparison of Tom Brady's third Super Bowl championship. The Ravens quarterback graduates middle school. Kind of a thing.
I mean, the Tom Brady lost to the Panthers.
Oh yeah,
and not by a little, 21-3.
Yep. Heck, even Miami
21-3
looks decent this year, which is just what? Miami? What? They haven't looked good since Marino. So, yeah, NFL's kind of all over the map, folks.
Oh my god. And it's not even good all over the map. It's not like there's any one person that people that's gonna be the MVP and this is gonna be a great Super Bowl. It's no, these are terrible games and these other teams are just keep winning these terrible games and the world's upside down.
Yeah.
This is the sign of the end times, folks. Routes out west in the western United States, Russia and North Korea pissing everybody else off, and the great quarterbacks of our time are sucking wind.
Cats living with dogs. Total mayhem.
Cats and dogs living together. Massive
hysteria.
This is going to be when we see the end times. Is the Browns play the Buccaneers on November 27th. So Thanksgiving week, the Browns play the Buccaneers. If the Browns win that game, that's it. That's it. It's all over.
It's all over.
That's it. Go to church.
Yep. Jesus is coming back.
Buddha, whoever. Yep. He's going to be wearing a Browns jersey.
Always goes for the underdog.
Just so that way he can really put a pin on what's happening right now. He's wearing a Browns jersey. All right, folks. You know it's serious. I'm wearing this. All right.
Yeah. You know the drill. You know the drill.
Okay, yeah, we could talk about the baseball for a quick minute. Yeah, thank you. I want to say thank you, Pat, for the Astros in Texas for sweeping the motherfucking New York Yankees. And I don't dislike the Yankees just because they're good. They got some really good players and they are a good team. It's just they are so snotty, and not just them, their fans too.
Oh yeah.
And they get so bent out of shape when they lose.
When they lose, it's like
they have
the world has come crashing down.
Yes, they are a fan base and a team that do not deserve to win.
Yep.
Ever, because they don't appreciate the wins that they get.
Yep. So yeah, their Astros are playing the Phillies. Verlander was the opener yesterday. Unfortunately, he blew the lead towards the end of the game, and the Phillies took game one. So game two is tonight at 7:30. So I'll probably be switching back between that and A&M, depending on how the A&M game goes, because they're at the same basic time.
This will be the first time that Bryce Harper, who plays for the Phillies, is in the World Series since he got his new contract, and it's been a few years. It's been a couple of years since he got that contract. So it has been 2 years since it might be 2 years since that particular contract is going to pay off for the Phillies.
Yeah.
And I think that's a long time to wait. Where, man, you're going to end up paying $400 million eventually.
Yeah.
Because it's all guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's interestingly enough, it's turning out to be a good year to be a Philadelphia sports fan because the Eagles are doing well. The Phillies made it to the World Series. We'll see how the 76ers do. And
Someone should go check to see if the mobs come back to Philadelphia.
yeah, the question mark. I don't know. Does Philadelphia have a hockey team?
Yeah, the Flyers.
The Flyers. That's right. So the question mark's the Flyers. Basically, the Flyers and the 76ers. How are they going to do this year? Because the last time we had a triple sweep was Tampa Bay. Because you had Tampa Bay win the World Series. No, they didn't win the World Series. They went to the World Series.
Won the World Series.
The
Bucks won the Super Bowl.
Bucks won the Super Bowl, and the Lightning won Stanley Cup. So
yeah,
the Philadelphia is setting themselves up for a triple play this year because the
all on the East Coast, surprisingly.
Yeah, and the Eagles are 6-0, 7-0, whatever. They're undefeated.
Despite everybody wanting to live on the West Coast, all the superstars come to play in the East Coast.
Yep, it's because the West Coast is crazy, and terribly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my friend went to not my friend, my cousin went to the Dallas Chargers game. Was it Chargers or Dallas Rams? So Dallas played the Rams in L.A. And there were as many Cowboys fans in that stadium as there were Rams fans. But one of the things they did during the game was they focused the Jumbotron camera on celebrities who were in the and like they focused on, I don't remember who it was. They focused on one and he got like some modest claps. They focused on another and she got like booed by the entire stadium. And then they focused on like one random guy and they just put Steve. And the whole like crowd just erupted celebrating this random guy over the celebrities.
God bless America, the land of mob stupidity.
Yep.
Because that's what it is. They know exactly what it is. Like, yeah, let's just have fun with it. But, potentially turning this rando into a celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh.
But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, the Cowboys are playing the Bears tomorrow at noon.
The Bears.
The Bears. So, they have not looked good so far this year. They're 4-3. So, they have won some games. So, we'll see. It's always a question mark,
See, the Bears are 4-3.
3-4. Sorry, I think I said 4-3, but I think they're 3-4.
The Bears, the mother bleeping Chicago Bears have a better record than the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
That's where we're at, folks.
Drink pretty heavy tonight, Pat. You might want to prepare yourself. Get your affairs in order. Say goodbye to your children.
Hey, neither of us need to die yet. If we're going to die that way, we need to do it on the cruise for your 40th birthday. That's how we need to do this.
I don't know if I'm going to make it, Pat. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
You're going to make it. You're going to make it.
Pat, listen. The Chicago Bears are doing better than the Cleveland Browns. I mean...
This is nowhere you haven't been before. You know it.
I hate my father. I hate my life. I'm going to go pick a fight. For those that don't know, that was a quote from Wayne's World 2.
Yep.
Chris Farley.
I'm going to go pick a fight.
I'm going to go pick a fight.
All right, so
yeah.
Unless we've got some other sports ball stuff to talk about, I think it's probably a good time to wrap this up.
No, just hockey season started, and yet again, another one of my teams is just sucking wind.
The Stars look pretty good right now, but who knows if that'll last.
Blue Jackets can't take a lead to save their life, and they are now 3-6.
Mm.
It's rough, man.
It's rough.
Bleeping rough. The only team that's doing well is Arsenal, and they just lost their first Europa game. So
Arsenal's always phoning it in.
But they're doing really good in the English Premier League, so
yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Just so you know, that line, Arsenal's always phoning it in, that's from IT Crowd.
Oh, really?
They came
I
up with
gotta
that
watch that again.
the little bot that lets you talk to football players or football fans. Man, Arsenal's always phoning in it because it's always true. Arsenal, come on, play some football. British
But they're like the
bastards.
top of the English league.
Yep, that is a game I will always enjoy watching. Is Arsenal Man U, if I can catch that on Premier League. 'Cause that is a game with some real hatred. It's very similar to the Texas A&M game, which is coming back, baby.
Yeah. So that's a show to really watch. Is Welcome to Wrexham. Because then you realize that soccer hooligans aren't just random violent people. Like they're organized groups of people that literally just do nothing but go out and pick fights.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is like Fight Club that's not so secret.
First rule of this Fight Club is to announce loudly that we're going to beat you up.
Like there's a great but sad episode in Welcome to Wrexham that's about soccer hooligans, and this one girl, is dating the soccer hooligan who's talking about saving money up for the next season because he's banned this season from any soccer matches due to what he's done as a hooligan. And she's like, is that really such a good idea? And like somewhere in the interview, she's like talking about, oh yeah, but hopefully I could change him. I'm like, oh, this is gonna end badly.
No, it's not gonna.
Honey,
Honey,
telling her to leave him. And, this, that,
it's just
and the
not
other thing.
gonna happen.
No. This will all work out. Like,
Through dedication and hard work, I have changed your father. He is a changed man. Mom, he's a changed man. Okay.
I will say one bright thing before we leave about sports, just so that people know that I'm not completely sad about sports, is that I'm happy to say that I've turned my girlfriend into a baseball fan. She asks about players, she asks about the team, she listens to the game sometimes or puts it on TV when I'm not home.
Oh wow.
So that's been nice. That's been a nice experience for me this year. Despite the Guardians not beating the Yankees, they took them to 5, and I don't think that if I could go back in time, I would put money on the Guardians taking the New York Yankees to 5 games in the division series. So
yeah,
I would have been a very rich man if I'd done that. So that's been a fun experience as far as baseball is concerned and sports in general. So it's not all sad, folks.
It's not all sad, and it's sports ball. It ebbs and flows. We have good years. We have bad years. We have bad years. We have not quite as bad years.
And I tell you what, the downtimes teach you to kind of step away from sports at times.
Yeah.
It's because you're just like, you're like, that's something, if it's not making you happy, you could step away from it.
Right. It's a game. It's ultimately a game. Played by way overpaid clowns, but it's a game. So, well, thanks everybody for listening in to our live cast and our podcast. Remember, we are Pat and the Fat Man, patandthefatman.com. If you'd like to go there and leave us comments, feel free. We've got an email address, patandthefatman@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Pat and the Fat Man. And if you'd like to support the podcast, which we would always appreciate because it does cost us money to do this. And, we figured this might be worth 25 cents or maybe even $1 a show to you. So just consider that. We're on Patreon. That's how we do it. So Pat and the Fat Man on Patreon. And thanks for listening. I'm Pat.
I'm the Fat Man.
Stay classy.
Yes.
Gig 'em. Gig 'em back, Ace. Do it. Gig the fuck out of those
Bulldogs. That's all the
Bulldogs.
energy I have for this week. That's how bad it is. That's all the energy.
Yep. All right, we should probably... So I'll end the live